Hello and welcome to All Things Odd. I'm Dr. Natalie Phillips.
And I'm Dr. Hannah Galloway.
All right, let's get that going too. So we are here every Thursday at 12:30 p.m. I almost said Eastern Standard Time. I host rooms on Clubhouse, and it's always Eastern Standard, Mountain Standard Time, 12:30 p.m. And so we're here every Thursday with some interesting things to talk about. We come up with some different topics, or sometimes we are inspired by our patients that we see, or some professionals or our colleagues as well. So before we get to today's topic, I wanted to remind people that we are streaming live here on Facebook, but also on YouTube as well. And if you have missed the episode, you can always catch the replay here on our Facebook page, or also on YouTube, or subscribe to our YouTube channel and post some comments there as well. I know that there was a audiologist who had reached out when we were doing this before, and he had asked where our YouTube channel was, because I actually deleted it from our old practice because he had it going on in his actual waiting room with our YouTube channel and our shows. And so that was really kind of nice for him to let us know about that. So subscribe, put it up in your waiting rooms if you want to, or let your patients know that do not have Facebook, that we have that YouTube channel that you can always go and watch some of our videos and our shows. So with that, we're going to start off with our topic of today, and we're actually going over some Q&A or questions that we have been posed just surrounding hearing aid batteries. And so if you're tuning in, if you've got a question, post it in the comments that we can see. If you're tuning in as an audiologist or a hearing healthcare provider and you've got an answer, then also post it in the comments as we go through some of these common questions that we have. So with that, I'm going to let Dr. Galloway take one of our first questions here.
Yes, so this is about traditional hearing aid batteries. How long do I have to wait after I remove the tab off of the battery before I can use it? So interestingly enough, there was a high school student that did his science fair project on this, and he found that if you wait between 1 and 5 minutes, you can increase battery life by up to 50%. And when you think about the way that a zinc air battery works, what we're talking about is these little batteries. That's still in its little case here. But when you get a hearing aid battery out of the package, it has a sticker on it. And so when you peel the sticker or the tab off, there's these little holes in the top of the battery that let the zinc in, and it mixes with the air, and that's how it powers the battery. So my thought is that when you take the sticker off and you just let it sort of absorb as much oxygen as it can, it sort of gives it like a boost or something. That's my 2 cents on it. But we have found that if you wait between 1 and 5 minutes, 5 minutes being optimal, that you can increase battery life. So don't yell at us if you come in and we don't practice what we preach, because we'd waste a lot of time every day waiting on batteries. So you'll see me take the sticker off and put it right in there. But realistically, if you want to save some batteries, you can try to hold off on that for 5 minutes at home.
Yeah, and I think it just gives it some time to mix. And, usually I tell patients to open up the battery door, go and do something in your home, and come back and then put that fresh battery in too. So there are there's different types of batteries, by the way. And so we're going to cover some of these questions. Are first related to the traditional zinc air batteries that you see that have tabs on them. And then we're going to talk a little bit more about lithium ion batteries. And then we have some general questions as well. So these are zinc air batteries that we're talking about, where you take the tab off. All right. So the next question is, how do I tell if I have life left in my battery? Well, there's a couple of different ways that you can do this. Number one, a lot of people that have apps that they connect their hearing aids to their phone to use, it'll show you on the app. There's 2 different ways that you can look at it. You could open up the app and then go to the information about your hearing aids, and it'll show you sometimes like a little battery, and it'll show you how much battery life you have. If you have added hearing into the control center of your phone, these are for iPhones, you can actually drag down or open up that control center, go to that ear, which is the hearing portion, and then it'll tell you about your battery life there. That's also how you get, by the way, to that listen live function that sometimes we show people to use your phone as kind of a remote microphone as well. So there's some different ways that you can use the app or the connection to your phone to tell if you've got life left in your battery. Number 2 way would be, there is a way that we can set an indicator so that you know that your battery is dying. So sometimes it gives you a little warning first, and then sometimes it gives you the okay, enough already, like go change the battery now. Like this is it. So sometimes it's a couple of beeps, sometimes it is like a descending sort of tone, and so that way you'll know. Sometimes it's somebody that speaks battery, that says the word battery, so that you know. So it just depends on the manufacturer and then how we actually set it. Most of the times we will go over that in the fitting though. But you know what? Like we said here, there's so many different ways. There's so many different things that you're getting in the hearing aid fitting that we don't expect you to remember everything. So this is why we're doing our show, so that we can kind of remind you about some of the things that we've done. And then the last one, I'm going to let Dr. Galloway talk about as well. Oh yeah, we've got somebody that is talking about
somebody knows our trick. So one trick that I like, and I'm actually going to see if I can move my camera down on my desk here to show you. I've got a dead battery and a good battery. So the good battery is heavy because it's full of that zinc. And actually, I don't know which one's which, so we'll find out. So that one is heavy. So it just smacked straight down on the glass desktop here. And this one, that one's empty. So you saw that it kind of bounced. And if I put it up higher, it'll do sort of a more dramatic, but I was afraid I would lose it. So yeah, if you drop it on the countertop and it just like smacks down like it's heavy and filled with something, that's a good battery. If it bounces, that is a dead battery. So a lot of times what will happen is patients will come in and they'll have a case with like 8 hearing aid batteries in it. And they're like, dang, I don't remember which one is the good one. So you can do that test and then throw all of the other ones away, because after you take that sticker off, in about 10 days, it's dead, whether you use the hearing aid or not. And I think that's a misconception. AA batteries, if you've never used them, they're still good. If you never use the remote control, it'll still be good in 10 years or whatever. But not the case for regular hearing aid batteries. So once that sticker is taken off, it is using power, whether you're using the device or not. And so there's really no need to keep those around if you know that they're could be older than 10 days old.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. So the next question that we have too is, where should I store my batteries? So again, with the zinc here with the tabs, right? We definitely used to tell people, well, obviously with alkaline batteries, I don't even know why, but like I remember always growing up with like a bucket in my fridge and like alkaline batteries in there, which is kind of crazy. So a lot of people think, oh, these are batteries, I'm going to also put them in the refrigerator. Like, do not put them in the refrigerator. Yep. So we say like a cool dresser drawer, or we say something that's dry but room temperature, because any extreme temperature, whether it's cold or it's hot, is not good for the life of the battery. So do not put it in the refrigerator. I was going to say oven and turn it on. Obviously, that would be kind of silly, but I guess don't leave it in your car where your car can overheat. Yeah. How about that?
So but the other thing I'll say is, we have a lot of patients who have like a backup set of batteries in their wallet. I had a patient came in the other day and he is trying out some rechargeables and he just cannot get over the fact that if he literally told me if he got lost in the woods mushroom hunting, he would have hearing aid batteries for weeks just based off what was in his wallet. But the rechargeables would be dead like by midnight. That's what he told me. So it's kind of funny. He's going to stick with regular batteries. But he got this pack of batteries out of his wallet, and it'd probably been in there for months, I'm guessing. And what can happen is that little sticker had this adhesive on the bottom of it. The adhesive can kind of melt over the top of the battery so that when you remove the sticker, you'll see there's like that adhesive residue. That in itself can keep the air from getting in the holes if it's like plugging the holes. So even if you are suspicious that the battery was hot, like it was in your car or, you had it in your wallet, you could try to scratch that adhesive residue off and still get by with the battery. But that's kind of a reason why we say don't put them places really hot, really cold, because that temperature fluctuation is going to mess with the adhesive. And then some of our patients can't see well, and they can't see that adhesive matter is like on the top of the battery. So that can be a problem too. But if you were lost in the woods and you had to get those batteries out, you could just check it out, visually and like scrub it off with your thumb to get that adhesive off, and it would still work. But that's kind of why we say no extreme temperatures.
Yeah, that's a great tip. Also, I was thinking the other way too. I know that people have seen batteries on sale, like in stores, and they're like, "Oh, awesome! These are so cheap. I'm going to get them." But if you don't forget to flip over the back and see the actual the
Mhm.
expiration date, sometimes that gives you a clue why they're on sale. Because even if it's in that same year, sometimes that adhesive, the same adhesive that Dr. Galloway is talking about, maybe it kind of started to rub off, and it already prematurely like started to get that battery going, right? And so
Mhm.
you want to make sure that you're very careful about that as well. Yeah.
Well, and I've
Um,
had patients tell me, like, I know it wasn't, the batteries didn't get hot. I've had, since I've purchased them, but you don't know what happened before you purchased them. They could have sat on like a semi somewhere where it was really hot or whatever. So
oh,
sometimes patients question that. And I think, you can always get a bad pack of batteries. It does happen, even the ones that we sell to you. Sometimes, patients will come back and say these didn't last as long or there's something wrong with these. So you can get a bad batch, but also, you don't know what happened to it before you got it. And yeah, the expiration date is important. And usually I was going to see what the expiration dates are on what I have, but these must be old because this one is 22. And
interesting.
this one is 2025. So typically we usually see them about 3 or 4 years out. And that gives you plenty of time to use all of them.
Mhm.
But if it says 22, how many batteries are you going to be able to use before the end of the year kind of thing?
Right. Right.
So
Awesome. Well, thank you, Max, for your advice as well. And thank you for your compliment on our show as well, too. So that is our colleague, Max Bauer. Okay.
he knows our
So
trick about he wrote in about the bounce trick.
yeah, he
So
did.
we thought not very many people knew about that trick, and I think we shared it before at our previous clinic, and we got so many comments. I'm like, oh wow, that's simple, but I had no idea.
Yeah, and
So
I had no
nice trick.
idea, so Dr. Galloway taught that to me, so I was like, "I didn't even know you could do that." Okay, so again, we're talking about batteries, hearing aid batteries. We just went over some common questions for zinc air batteries, the more we say traditional or the ones that people are used to using where you pull off the tabs. So we're
Mhm,
gonna shift a little bit to some questions about lithium ion batteries. So these are batteries that are kind of sealed shut in the door, and again, these are the rechargeable ones that you're able to put up on a recharger.
mhm,
So the question is, how often do I need to replace my lithium ion batteries? Typically, I mean, they're there for the warranty of the hearing aids, right? And so we would say maybe, 2 to 3 years, more likely 3 years, no sooner than 2 years. But
mhm.
what we usually tell people, our patients, I hope no manufacturers are watching, is that before your warranty goes out, I usually remind them to bring their hearing aids in so that we can send it to the manufacturer so they can kind of get a new battery, a new lithium ion battery put in there. So then it lasts a few more years after that as well.
Mhm.
So I think that's a kind of a neat trick for these lithium ion batteries.
Well, and it's nice too because when a new product comes out, like let's say the Oticon Moors is what we've been using a lot of. When that product first came out, they don't know how long that battery is going to last. I mean, they hope that it's going to last 5 years, but they don't know that for sure. So they warranty it with the hearing aid so that we know that for the life of the warranty, that battery is going to last the quoted 18 to 30 hours, on a single charge, unless it's a cross system, in which case it would die sooner because it has to do the Bluetooth transfer all the time.
Hmm.
But at least that patients have that peace of mind. And then, yeah, right before they go to warranty, we send it in, get it cleaned and checked. And anybody that's been wearing it regularly has probably noticed a decrease in battery life. It's just like your iPhone. You first get it, stays charged all day long. You have no problems with it. You may be able to get through 2 days. And then after you've had it for 2 years and you've recharged it every night, it's like, oh, my phone is always dead. So the amount of time you can get out of the battery will kind of start to dwindle. And then once it starts to encroach on your day, and it's only lasting 14 hours or whatever, that's a good time to, send it in and get it swapped. We can swap a lot of them in the office too. I know Oticons we can. And I know that we can check in our software too the battery health to see if they recommend that we replace it or not. So if you had a nonverbal patient or somebody that's just not a good reporter or wasn't able to hear that low battery sound or didn't understand what was happening, we can look on the software and say, okay, it says it's poor battery health, we just need to either send those in or swap those in the office.
Hmm.
So that's kind of nice too. It doesn't always mean we have to send it in. If you've been wearing it for 2.5 years, it's probably not a bad idea to send it in anyway. But, if you're in a pinch, hopefully that's something we could replace in the office for you.
Yep. Awesome. I'll have Dr. Galloway take this next question here.
Okay. Lithium ion batteries, are they safe to take through security and fly on a plane? Yes. I know back a couple of years ago, there was like some cell phone with a lithium ion battery that they said you couldn't take on planes because they were worried about it catching on fire or something. Not the case with any hearing aids. You can travel with it. You don't even need to take them out of your ears when you go through security. If somebody asks you about it, you could just tell them, that it's a hearing device. But you shouldn't have any problems with that, with traveling. You obviously need to take your charger with you so that you can recharge them every night. And many of the manufacturers have a version of their charger that's like a travel charger that will hold charge. And so that can be helpful too, if you're not going to be staying at the same hotel every night or whatever, so that you can get them charged.
Yep. All right. So we are now going to go over some just general questions with hearing aid batteries that you might have had or have been thinking about. So the first question is, do hearing aid batteries still contain mercury? The answer is no. So the battery industry kind of came together and they decided back in like 2011 that there will be no more mercury located in the hearing aids. I do remember like you had to be very careful about how you disposed of the batteries because they have mercury. They're still very dangerous if they're swallowed, like we talked about on one of our previous shows. But hearing aid batteries do not have mercury any longer. That was, boy, that's over a decade now. Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep. So you don't have to worry about that at all.
Yep. It is still important to make sure they go someplace that's going to be safe to throw them away.
Mhm.
Pets, kids, especially stickers. Stickers are really fun. Kids love stickers. They like to take stickers off of stuff. And the battery is really little. It does kind of look like the size of a mint or a piece of candy or something. I think these are unsuspectingly dangerous. Like, I didn't realize even how dangerous they are until we did some research a few weeks ago for our episode. But time matters. If you see a child swallow a battery, like the sooner you can get them to the emergency room, the better. The bigger the battery is, the more dangerous it is because the more power it holds. A good battery or a full battery would be more dangerous than a dead battery. But regardless, it wouldn't be worth it. Just take the kid in and get them checked out, or your pet too. If you think that your pet has swallowed one. I have 3 dogs and we've had to induce vomiting at home before for other reasons, but you can do that. And so, the sooner you know about it, the better. But if one got swallowed and nobody knew about it and it, sat there, it could potentially be lethal to the pet or the child or an adult, that didn't know any better. So that's important to know, and just make sure that when you're throwing them away, they're going in a trash can with a lid, or you're not just like throwing them across the room at the trash can where they might not make it, and a dog or a kid could pick them up. And luckily now we do have rechargeable batteries, because think about a kid's hearing aid. A 3-year-old's hearing aid until about 4 years ago had to have a battery in it. And we had these battery doors that locked, a child tamper resistant battery door. But kids, we want them to be autonomous with their hearing aids. We want them to take ownership and charge them and do all this stuff. And so that just kind of introduced a dangerous variable there. Now, I don't know why we would order standard batteries for a child if we had the option of rechargeable, just because it makes everybody's life easier. But that's just kind of important to think about, that the batteries are dangerous, even though they're tiny and kind of unassuming.
Yeah. All right. So we kind of went through this a little bit. How long should a hearing aid battery last? It depends on if it's zinc air or if it is lithium ion. But typically, if it's zinc air, I know this sounds silly, but it's like 3 to 22 days, it says.
Yeah.
And, it depends on a lot of things. It depends on how often are you wearing your hearing aids? What's the degree of hearing loss you have? How many programs do you have in your hearing aids? Are you streaming? Is it a cross hearing aid that crosses sounds over because it's using that Bluetooth? So it really kind of depends on a lot of factors. Sometimes, some softwares will tell us, depending on your type of hearing loss and what we've programmed in there, how much your battery should last. But it kind of varies, right? So it just kind of depends on your usage and the type of hearing aid and the type of hearing loss as well.
And there's 4 different sizes of disposable batteries. So I was looking in my drawer. I have 3 of the 4. I don't have the biggest one because those are hardly ever used. But this is a size 10 battery. I know it's got the sticker on it, but you can kind of tell compared to my fingernail there how small it is. This is, okay, let's see if I can get them both up here next to each other. So that's the 312 versus the 10. So this one is the one that's like a 3-day battery. It's very small. 312 is more common. And then this one is the same diameter. It's a size 13. Same diameter as a 312, but it's twice as thick. So obviously they can pack more power in a battery that's twice as thick, but it also makes your hearing aid bigger. So, you know, if somebody has a severe to profound hearing loss and they're wearing standard BTEs, they even used to make those with the 675 battery. I think they still do, which is the largest battery. So that makes a big difference on it. But also what Dr. Phillips was saying about streaming, if you're somebody that doesn't use Bluetooth, you're going to get a lot more battery life than somebody who's doing a lot on their phone all day long and it's Bluetoothing back and forth. So it's just like with your phone when you're playing music, you know, on a speaker in the car or something like that.
Yep. All right. So our last question that we have. So again, as you're watching this, if you had a question that we didn't cover, put it in the comments either on YouTube or on our Facebook page as well, because we can always come back and look at that. Or if there's another audiologist or hearing healthcare professional that has an answer, you can easily put that up on there as well. But the last question that we came up with is, why are my hearing aid batteries draining fast? And typically, even with lithium ion batteries, depending on the moisture of where you live and what you do, you know, it typically can be moisture. I mean, it could be a lot of other things too, but I would say the first thing that we would do is put your hearing aid in our reduct system, or, you know, try to talk to you a little bit and find out a little more information about what you're doing and how you're taking care of it. Sometimes there are some I was going to say devices, but little kits that you can take home to help drain out the battery with desiccants. But typically my my first thing would be to try to see if there's any moisture in there as well. Dr. Galloway, anything else that you can think of?
I mean, older hearing aids, just that's something that we're going to deal with more. Is that, you know, the older that they are, the harder time they're having working. And just when those hearing aids came out, the battery drain was greater. So that can definitely be something that we see. But, you know, older hearing aids have also been exposed to more moisture. No, I don't have anything else on that. I was going to show these chargers just because I have them out here. So with rechargeable hearing aids, typically the hearing aid comes with a charger that plugs into the wall. But some manufacturers have chargers that will actually hold charge so you can take them with you when you travel. So this is Starkey's charger here. We like to put stickers on ours so that we know that they're ours whenever we loan them out. That's why it's got that. But on the back of the charger, it's got some LED lights that will tell you how charged the case is. So it's got LED lights on the front that will tell you how charged the hearing aids are if they're in it. But the lights on the back tell you how charged the case is, which is really handy because you could charge it. You know, if you went camping or something for a couple nights, you would be able to recharge a couple times without power. This one is Widex is a charger, and it's a little bit smaller, but it does hold charge too. I don't know that it has lights to tell you about the charge, but theirs is sort of hard to operate. When I first got it, I couldn't figure it out. You pull this top up and then sort of pull it back, and that's the little slots that you charge the hearing aids. Of course, most of the time it's going to be plugged into the wall, but you could take it and travel and charge it a couple times without any power too. So Oticon also has one called a smart charger, and the travel chargers typically charge faster than the regular charger. So I know with Oticon, it's about 3 hours for a full charge on their regular charger, but with the smart charger, you can get a really good charge in like 30 minutes. So if you do use rechargeable batteries, but you feel like you're limited, there's usually an option, or like a power pack or a battery pack that's external that you can charge additionally and then plug the USB of the charger into it is also an option. There's solar chargers and all kinds of stuff for our outdoorsmen patients, you know, that are going to be away from power for a while. So
yeah, awesome. Well, we hope that this answered a lot of questions regarding any battery questions, zinc air batteries and lithium ion batteries are the ones that are out there and we're using. And so if you have any other questions that you feel might come up and we didn't cover it, then again, put it in the comments and we'll get back to it and see if we can find an answer for you. So with that, we're going to end our show for today, and we will be back next Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Mountain Standard Time with All Things Odd. All right, we'll see you then. Bye.
Thank you.